Hello guys, welcome back to Tactical Trafford, and today we are going to be talking about Bryan Mbeumo. As I promised you guys earlier this week, I was working on a video to actually give you guys a detailed about Bryan Mbeumo. As you all know, Bryan Mbeumo has chosen to join Manchester United over Arsenal, Tottenham, and Newcastle United. And so, what does that mean for us YouTubers? It's for us to make compilations for you guys. So, I'm here today to make a video about Bryan Mbeumo. As you all know, Bryan Mbeumo is a player that plays for Brentford. He's 26 years old in his prime. He's a similar player to Bukayo Saka, to Mo Salah, to Gerard Bowen in West Ham United. So today we are going to be talking about Gerard Bowen. We are going to be talking about every characteristics of Bryan Mbeumo. So let's dive into the video, guys. So guys, about Bryan Mbeumo, the first attribute of Bryan Mbeumo we are going to be going over today is his goal threat. So when we talk about his goal threat, we are going to be talking about his finishing, his long shot, and other goal scoring threats. Bryan Mbeumo is actually one of the most clinical players in the Premier League this season. As you all know, he scored 20 goals and he gave 7 assists. So Bryan Mbeumo had a total goals and assist ratio of 27 in 38 games in the Premier League this season. That has been his best goal scoring tally in his career. So when you're comparing Bryan Mbeumo's shot accuracy and shot per 90 minutes with the likes of Bukayo Saka, Mo Salah, Michael Olise, and Ryan Chiki, you will find out that he has more shooting accuracy than then he has a shot accuracy or shot accuracy of 51%, even though the likes of Mo Salah and Bukayo Saka attempts more shots per 90 minutes than him, but he has a very wonderful accuracy, and that accuracy has increased over the years in his stay in the Premier League. He's a very wonderful goal threat in the Premier League. His finishing is very elite. He's very good in finishing from outside the box and also inside the box. But when you talk about long shots, Bryan Mbeumo is not a player that actually scores from outside the box a lot more. He's a player that scores more from inside the box. He's just like the kind of Bukayo Saka or Arjen Robben kind of player that cuts into the left or cuts into the right, and then he can be able to finish with both feet. So when it comes to finishing, this is what we should be expecting from Bryan Mbeumo. He's going to be very important for the Ruben Amorim side. As we know, Manchester United scored a total of 42 goals in the Premier League last season, while only Bryan Mbeumo scored a total of 20 goals in the Premier League last season. So this is the reason why Manchester United is going for Bryan Mbeumo, because he's going to increase the goal scoring ratio of Manchester United. So this is why Bryan Mbeumo is a very important and crucial signing for Ruben Amorim, because he automatically improves his goal scoring ratio of Manchester United. So guys, let's go into another characteristics of Bryan Mbeumo. Let's go into the dribbling of Bryan Mbeumo. We are going to be talking about his control, his flair, and his footwork. Bryan Mbeumo is not like a natural dribbler like Desiree Doué, like Neymar Jr., like Michael Olise. Like I'm going to be comparing him with the likes of Ryan Chiki, Mo Salah, Bukayo Saka, and Michael Olise. He's not like the natural dribbler like Michael Olise or Ryan Chiki that looks to make a mockery of players. Bryan Mbeumo doesn't look to make a mockery of any player. Bryan Mbeumo is a player that likes to run with people's, and Bryan Mbeumo is somebody that can run with the ball like in a very large distance, because you all know that Brentford is a team that plays or relies on counter attack. So Bryan Mbeumo is a kind of player that runs large distances with purposes. He doesn't like to beat around the bush, to cut in and out, make mockery of players, do like a leg over snake bite. No, he's not that kind of player. Bryan Mbeumo is a player that runs with people. He runs at the player, he dribbles the player with a lot of flair, body fence. He has a lot of body fence, and then his control is absolutely top-notch. Bryan Mbeumo is somebody that has a very wonderful control. I all know in the Ruben Amorim system, in the 3-4-3 system, having an excellent control and having an excellent first touch is actually important to beat the press. And Bryan Mbeumo actually ticks all the box when it comes to dribbling and control. So this is what we have in dribbling for Bryan Mbeumo. So guys, let's go into the defending of Bryan Mbeumo. In as much as Bryan Mbeumo is one of the most dangerous players in the Premier League, Bryan Mbeumo is actually a player that could also defend properly. He can defend his boxes. If you check his defensive action and successful defensive duels that has been won with the likes of Michael Olise, Saka, Mo Salah, and Ryan Chiki, you'll find out that he has a very nice successful defensive action of 69%. That tells you that Bryan Mbeumo can also be able to play the wing back position in as much as he's being bought for the right turn, in as much as he can be able to play any position across the front three. He could also play in the wing back position, primarily because he can be able to defend the box very well. He's good in marking. He has a lot of good defensive action in the Premier League. I've actually watched a lot of clips about Bryan Mbeumo, and it's going to tell you that he can be able to mark, and you could see from the charts that he has a very good defensive action. So in as much as Bryan Mbeumo is actually very good in scoring goals, in dribbling, in taking on players, in crossing, linking up, he could also defend the box when we are not with the ball. Bryan Mbeumo is actually a player that is good out of position. He's not just good in holding position, he's also good out of position. He's a very wonderful player. He presses very well. This is one of the attributes of Bryan Mbeumo I like most, because majority of the players we have bought in Manchester United, for example, Jadon Sancho, he's good on the ball, but off the ball, he's one of the worst players in the world. So this is one of the reasons why I like Bryan Mbeumo. Off the ball, he's actually a very decent player. So guys, let's go into the crossing of Bryan Mbeumo. If you look at his crossing stats, if you compare it with the like of Mo Salah, Michael Olise, Bukayo Saka, you're going to find out that his crossing per 90 minutes is like 2.95. But I think most of the time these stats don't really do justice to the abilities of the players, because if you look at Bryan Mbeumo, most of his stats are not really nice on the eye. But if you watch his clips, if you watch Bryan Mbeumo in games, you're going to find out that he's a very good crosser. He can cross with both feet, with his right, with his left, and he's a very underrated right foot crosser. If you watch majority of the games Brentford has played Manchester United recently, you're going to find out that he's a very dangerous crosser. Because the most important thing is just for us to have like players that can be able to, convert these chances. But because just imagine a player like Bryan Mbeumo crossing and Rashford Højlund is there to none. So he's not really going to yield any form of profit. So this is one of the reasons why Ruben Amorim is looking for Bryan Mbeumo, and this is one of the reasons we want to buy Bryan Mbeumo, because he has a very good crossing ability. He can cross with both of his feet. He can make whipped crosses, inverted crosses, any kind of cross that you will actually want a winger to actually perform for you as a right 10 or as a right winger. So this is actually what we have for Bryan Mbeumo. We have talked about his dribbling, his crossing, his defending, his long pass, and also, did I forget, Bryan Mbeumo also has a very nice long passing ability. He can be able to do diagonal switches. He can switch the play just in case maybe a particular area of the field is overcrowded. The ball can be switched to another part of the field to continue play. So Bryan Mbeumo is also a player that has a very good long passing ability. So this is actually what we have for Bryan Mbeumo. We have actually broken down all his characteristics. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts about what you feel about Bryan Mbeumo. Is he a good signing for Manchester United, or do you feel that he's a bad signing for Manchester United? See you guys in my next clip.